Hey friends, Sean from Draft Therapy here, and on today's review for you, do you really think this is the last time we're going to see this horse for a while? CBS is an 11.3% Barrel Aged Stout from Founders Brewing Company in Grand Rapids, Michigan. CBS is the last of Founders Barrel Aged series of 2019, and from what I've heard, I have it on good authority, supposedly, that this will be the last year they're releasing it for at least for a little while. Now, don't worry. If you don't pick this up right now, if it's anything like last year, you'll be able to find it on shelves for at least the next 12 months. Shouldn't be that hard to get. I have to say, I really wasn't impressed with last year's CBS, so I'm really hoping that they were able to bring down some of the sweetness this year. And when something's available for 12 months because you made way more than what the public was willing to buy, can these barrel-aged series beers really be called limited? Anyhow, enough with all the philosophizing and all that stuff about CBS. Let's get with looking at the label and getting it into a glass. Fun fact, because horses' eyes are on the sides of their head, they're able to see almost in 360 degrees at one time, so they can almost see entirely around their body. So let's take a look at the label. On the front, if you've seen last year's, it's going to be really very similar. It has the Founders Brewing label across the neck. It has like this red foil color embossing. On the front of the actual label itself, it says Founders, product of the U.S., just so you're not confused with the old Mountie label, I guess. Has a red barrel-aged series logo. It says CBS, Imperial Stout brewed with chocolate and coffee, aged in maple syrup bourbon barrels. And then it has Founders Brewing Company, Grand Rapids, Michigan, and 12 fluid ounces. And then I was looking at the back here, and I noticed something. I don't remember it being black on the back of the bottle before. And the reason that I don't remember it being black is because in the United States, they didn't release this in 12-ounce bottles. It was only in bombers, and they didn't have a back label on the bomber bottles. So this year, it's in black. It says Founder CBS 2019 release, and then it says, CBS was born when we stumbled upon some bourbon barrels that had previously housed maple syrup. We opted to put the same base beer as KBS, an imperialized version of Breakfast Stout, in the maple barrels, and after one taste, we knew we had something special. Hints of rich maple syrup, roasted coffee, and velvety chocolate meld together in what can only be described as a transcendental drinking experience, and it says bottled. This was bottled on September 17th, 2019. It's 11.3% alcohol by volume, but we covered that already. And then it has the gold Founders cap on the top, like all the barrel-aged series beers have had. I just recently did KBS Espresso, same gold bottle cap. And I'm going to grab, I got a Witch's Hat Night Fury, Trax Night Fury glass. This is from the Fury for a Feast Fest. I'm going to use this one because I haven't used it yet on video. And yeah, like I said, it's got the black label, just kind of threw me off a little bit. So let's go ahead and crack this open. And we'll set that cap to the side. Let's get a whiff out of the bottle here. My nose is all up in that right now. Getting a lot of that maple aroma, a lot of that bourbon aroma as well. I'm not really getting much more than the maple and the bourbon. A lot of bourbon, just kind of a little bit of maple. It smells sweet. I guess there is kind of a roasty aroma as well. Let's go ahead and pour this. Very dark. Borderline black coming out of the bottle. And collecting, the head itself is a really dark coffee color. The head is very nice and compact. All the bubbles are very smooth looking on the top of the glass. And let's go ahead and, it honestly looks right now to be like, if I looked at just color without holding it up, it would look like black with a coffee colored head. Coffee colored, just kind of a little bit darker than khaki. It's not super dark coffee, but it's a brownish, tannish coffee colored head. And let's go ahead and hold this up to the light. Very dark again, almost borderline black, same head color. I can see a bit of a purplish kind of brown hue around the bottom where it thins out on the bottom of the bulb on this glass. And let's put a better nose on the glass itself. Yeah, getting a sweet aroma. Maybe getting a bit of the bourbon, but now I'm getting more of that kind of maple aroma directly out of the glass. Let's go ahead and have a drink. Cheers. Lots of sweetness. Let's start with the mouthfeel. So the mouthfeel is thick. It's got a nice kind of, it's not like a medium thickness at all. It's thick, it's heavy, it's syrupy. It's got a really nice kind of, it just kind of fills, it kind of just fills your mouth with this maple flavor. And let's get to the flavor now. So the flavor, what I'm getting is just straight up, there's a little bit of a roasty characteristic on the tail end, a little bit of a smokiness. I'm getting a lot of the maple, and the bourbon complements the maple. It doesn't have a strong bourbon flavor. The bourbon is in there, but it is a lot of maple, lots of maple syrup kind of characteristics, and a bit of a roastiness on the tail end on the finish. I feel like they have kind of curbed that sweetness. The sweetness is still very sweet, but I feel like last year's was a real, just strong sugar bomb, like maple syrup, just, just explosion in your face. Too much for me. It was just a little bit too much. This has brought it down a little bit. Like I said, with also having that maple flavor, there's also that kind of smoky characteristic in there. There's that roasty characteristic. It adds a little bit of a complexity because it's not just all maple syrup and bourbon just in your face. It's got a little bit more complexity this year. The mouthfeel I like on this quite a bit. I'm kind of comparing it to last year's. I want to say I'd have to watch the review, and so would you. But I think it was a little bit thinner, and this year it's got a nice thickness to it. It's not like a one-trick pony like I feel like it was last year. So that's good to see that it's switched up a little bit. I could probably tie that into the riderless horse. And I can't believe when I was talking about the bottle, I didn't talk about the horse not having the rider, not having the Mountie. You know that if you've seen this, you know the whole thing about that. So yeah, the flavor on this, I'm coming back around to CBS. I think that this year's has redeemed itself. Now, I wouldn't go far as to say it's a transcendental drinking experience like Founders does on this bottle. Obviously, that's marketing, and they're going to say great things about it. I think it's a good thing that CBS is maybe going away for a little bit. I think it's more appreciated, and it's more of a special thing when it's not just available everywhere. Like I said, you're probably still going to see it on shelves for the next 12 months. I'm sure they just dumped out, as much as possible into the market because it feels like that's what they did last year. Maybe this year is going to be different, but I think that this might be one of those occasions where you're going to be able to do verticals of a beer because they're still on the shelves, like super readily available. And I don't think any of the barrel aged stuff before this was quite, at least in Michigan, was quite that available. So yeah, I think this year, again, it's got that sweetness. It's got that maple flavor. The bourbon's in there, and I think it's more in there to complement the maple. I think that they have complementary, flavor profiles. I think the bourbon just helps complement the maple syrup. In CBS, I feel like it has a bit of a smoky kind of flavor, characteristic, a roasty, malty kind of characteristic, which I think that this year's CBS, if you had last year's and you didn't like it, but you like 2017's, I think 2019's a return to form. I think 2018 was just kind of, they tried to rush it out the door or something. I don't know what exactly was different about it, but I wasn't exactly enjoying that one quite as much as this one. If you're looking for a beer to return to form and to redeem itself, I think CBS is a perfect candidate for that. All right, friends, that has been CBS Founders' final release of their 2019 Barrel Aged series. You can keep your eyes peeled for my 2019 Barrel Aged series comparison video for Founders. That should be coming out soon. So have you had this one? How do you think it stacked up against previous years, especially last year's? Let me know what you thought in the comments down below. And while you're down there, if you like Michigan beer, you might want to subscribe and click that bell because I'm here talking about beer twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I would hate for you to miss your newest favorite because you're not subscribed and getting those notifications. Also, you can text or leave me voicemail questions on the Draft Therapy hotline at 224-DRAFT-20. So until next time, I'm Sean from Draft Therapy. Thanks for stopping by, and remember, drink craft beer, support your local breweries wherever they are, and most importantly, the utmost importance, don't forget to treat yourself to a little draft therapy. Thanks for watching. Cheers.